Now in the previous video I replaced the wax capacitors in the vertical circuits, and then have since replaced all of these capacitors that are related to the sweep circuits for horizontal sweep, except that I had not replaced any of these caps up here, especially the ones related to the horizontal oscillator. So I spot checked what it was doing. I turned it on and discovered that I couldn't sync the picture just right. It looked better before I replaced all these capacitors. Well, I got it set to where it works now, but that's pretty common when you start replacing parts with the correct values. Adjustments and things may have gone off. I've got a lot of capacitors yet to replace on this thing yet, but I'm going to fire it up and see what the picture looks like so far. And so you can see I have the picture fairly stable. I'll be replacing more of the wax capacitors as I go along, but this set's really coming along well. It takes a while for it to warm up because the CRT is so weak, but I think it'll produce a respectable picture, at least just to be able to demonstrate this 1948 television. So I'm waiting for some more capacitors and resistors that I need to replace this resistor. This is a 12K resistor, brown, red, orange, 12K, 2 watts, and I neglected to order that. I've replaced all the other out-of-spec 2-watt resistors except for this 100 ohm 2-watt resistor right here, which measures, it's almost on the money, so and it's in a difficult place. I'm going to leave it in place, but all the other out-of-spec 2-watt resistors, this one and this one up here, this one right here, I've replaced those, and there's a problem. I'm still waiting for some capacitors that I didn't order in my first order on this thing. I don't know how I missed it, but I won't replace the remaining paper capacitors until I get the rest of the parts. But there's a problem. I can't get enough vertical height out of the picture, and that's an issue. It's compressed down farther than it needs to be. It'll be way below the bezel on the screen. Now remember, the other person that worked on this cut this resistor in half. In my earlier video, he had reduced it 50%, the resistance here. Now this circuit right here is in the vertical linearity circuit. However, this resistor right here is supposed to be 1.2 megs, and in actuality it's 2.5 megs is what it measures. So that's way out of spec, and that's right, and that goes right to the wiper of the vertical height pot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that. I could probably even put a 1 meg resistor in there, but I'll see if I got a 1.2 meg and put it in there. I'm going to change that and see if that makes a difference, and if I can get more vertical height out of it than I'm getting right now. So what I've done here is I've tacked on a 2.2 meg resistor onto the existing 1.2 meg, which is doubled in value, and that actually brought the resistance, the total resistance, down to 1.2 megs like it's supposed to be. So I'm going to see if that's given me the vertical deflection I need. Now I can understand now where this guy, when he doubled this resistance here over to half of what it was, or he cut it in half, but this is in the vertical linearity circuit. It's not, I don't think that would affect the height at all. So I don't know why he put a lower resistance in here, but this, I think, this would affect the amplitude of the vertical sweep, the vertical height. So I'll see now if this is kind of fixed my problem, I hope. Wow, what a difference a mega ohm of resistance made. Yeah, that brought back the vertical deflection that I needed. Whoever worked on this set before I got it must not have known what he was doing, because cutting this resistor in half is in the vertical linearity circuit. This 1.2 meg resistor, which doubled in value, was the problem. So I could leave this tacked in resistor in place, I suppose, or get a 1.2 and just replace it. I don't know what I'll do. But what I do know is I now have the vertical deflection that I need, which is very good.